Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having an amazing week. Excited to be connecting in with you here at the beginning of summer in the States here in June. And I'm so excited to introduce someone really special to you today. Her name is Baaaaahbra Gross. And I wanted to also share about her. She has a book coming out that we're super, super excited about. And I also wanted to share something just as an organization that we're celebrating. I think it's so important to remember to stop, pause, and celebrate. We sometimes just rush off to that next thing. So one of the things we're celebrating is that we've recently expanded our publishing arm to work with individual authors like Baaaaahbra. And what that allows us to do is it gives us the opportunity to walk beside amazing talent and help them bring their book forward in a powerful way as a bestseller, really touching as many hearts and lives as possible. So it's just been such a joy and an honor, and I celebrate that we get to do that, that you get to be part of that journey. I want to thank you for leaning into so many of the anthologies and books that we brought forth. And so it's so exciting to be also working with individual authors. And I celebrate Baaaaahbra that she has leaned in and said, yes, she's actually the first book that we are bringing forward and publishing this year. We have about 10 to 12 that we'll be bringing forward throughout the future months. So you want to be staying tuned and writing those launch dates down. We always announce them in our magazine, the RHG magazine. But here's why. On the launch day, part of celebrating is we're offering their books as in a Kindle form for only $1. It's a way for us to get it out to as many hearts and lives as possible. So the date you want to write down on your calendar in celebration of Baaaaahbra, of her book, of this launch, is June 19th. And when we have future shows talking about additional books, make sure to write down those publishing, those launch dates if that's a book that resonates with you, because you're able to get it for that special $1 rate, but only for the first 24 to 72 hours. So today's date that you want to write down is June 19th, because I know as you get to know Baaaaahbra, you hear her heart, you hear her way of looking at the world, it's going to lift your spirits. You're going to want more of her. And I know her book is something that as I have read it has lifted my spirits. Even the editor, when she read it, she says, Rebecca, I was reading this section and I started laughing so hard. I actually, I was drinking water and the water didn't stay in my mouth. It was that funny. And then I had to go tell my daughter. So I know her book is very powerful, it's positive, it's uplifting, but it even focuses on how are you choosing to look at your life? Are you choosing to look at that positive side of things? Or are you letting those challenges weigh you down? Because it is a choice. And what I love about Baaaaahbra is not only is she able to look at that positive, but she's then able to share it from that lens to lift all of our spirits. So I just think she's an amazing woman. Excited to have her on the show with us today. Excited to share her as kind of our first book that we're bringing out there as our solo author. She gets to lead the charge here as we bring all of those amazing authors forward. And I want to encourage you to lean in and celebrate with Baaaaahbra and with us as we have this conversation and she shares from her heart and wisdom and some of what you can look forward to in her book. So Baaaaahbra, I'm excited to have you here. I'm going to more formally introduce you a little bit later on. But as we're standing here in this moment, your book is launching in 2 weeks because this will be June 5th. We're pre-recording the show, but when all of you get to hear it, it'll be June 5th that we're sharing this show out. And I wanted to see what you're thinking of as you're looking ahead and you're 2 weeks to your book being launched. How does it feel? What are your thoughts? What would you like to share with us?
Well, it's also very exciting to share, parts of my life with humor with the world at large.
Yes. Good. Well, I'm glad you're excited. And listeners, I always like us to stop and pause for a moment when we connect and we come together. And I wanted to honor that today and give us an opportunity. And what I would love for you to think about is, what is it that you want to celebrate today, and how can we encourage and empower you to do that? What do you need to support you in celebrating something today? Oh, those of you who are driving, I want to encourage you to stay safe, both hands on the wheels, just inwardly tuning in. But those of you who are able to, put both feet on the floor, take a deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth, like through a straw. Beautiful. One more breath like that. Close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head. And as we stop for a moment and think about celebrating, what is it that you are wanting to acknowledge or celebrate today, or share with somebody that you have done this, you have tried this, you have brought this forth? What is it that you want to acknowledge and celebrate today? And you just receive that information. So acknowledge and celebrate, and I always like to add another layer, are willing to share with someone else and let them celebrate with you too. See if that shifts the information a little bit. Beautiful. Come back into the room. Eyes open, fully present, and write it down, what it is that you want to acknowledge and celebrate today. And you are willing to share that with another and allow them to celebrate with you too. I know one of those precious moments for me is when someone gives me a call and goes, Rebecca, I did this, or I shared this, or I stood in this place, or I just achieved this amazing recognition, or, that project I've been working on and talking about is now coming to fruition. It is now here and happening, and I just want to celebrate that with you. That's a really special moment when you get to stop and pause and celebrate with another, because this is not a solo journey. And not only do we get to walk beside each other in those challenges, we also get to celebrate those amazing moments as we each step out and share more of who we are. And that's something that I'm so excited about with Baaaaahbra, that she's willing to lean in and step out and share more with all of you, and I get to celebrate that moment with her on this show and with all of you. And that's really powerful, really special. And she's written many of her own personal experiences. So she's letting us into her heart, into her life in this book, and kind of opening that up so that we can learn from her, we can be uplifted, and we can celebrate her journey with her and on that journey. Oh, as we get ready to go to our first commercial break, I'm just going to talk for a moment with Baaaaahbra. And I wanted to see, as we just stopped and paused for a moment, was there something laid on your heart that you wanted to acknowledge or you wanted to celebrate with all of us? We are here with you, excited to celebrate.
Well, I just feel so blessed that I'm able to share my stories and experiences with everyone. And I just feel love. So I'm sending it out to everybody.
My arms are out. I am receiving. I hope all of our listeners are receiving that. So feeling blessed, sharing out love, and excited to bring this powerful and joy-filled book to the world. It's called Humorous Adventures with Baaaaahbra. And how many A's are in that?
5.
5 A's. I want to make sure we're spelling it right. Baaaaahbra. Humorous Adventures with Baaaaahbra that we are bringing to the world. And as we get ready to go to this first commercial break, I want to give you the opportunity to stay present. Resist the urge to go cross things off your to-do list. But I invite you to stay present for these 2 minutes carved out just for you. breathe, process, receive anything that's being spoken onto your heart. Perhaps make that list of things to celebrate and who you're going to call or who you're going to reach out to and celebrate that with. So take these next 2 minutes, enjoy this time, and we'll look forward to continuing our conversation with the amazing author, Baaaaahbra Gross. Talk to you in just a moment.
The Voice America Women's Channel.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
If you've always wanted to take the lead in your life, but you don't believe you are a leader, then it's time to change that mindset. Leadership expert Linda Patton will help you discover the powerful leader that lives within and teach you the leadership skills that will transform your business and your life. Stepping into your leadership brings reality to your vision, and leadership can be learned. Find out more on Leadership Stars every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Women's Channel.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Have you become a member yet? Sign up now to become a member of Voice America. It's always free and easy. Plus, you get to take advantage of some great member benefits. Get unlimited access to millions of hours of on-demand content across all of our channels. Keep track of your favorite episodes, shows, and hosts in your own customizable library. Find out what shows you might be interested in based on your favorites. Plus, you get insider access with our newsletter. Membership gives you more. Sign up at voiceamerica.com and click Register at the top right.
Voice America Women's Channel, a leader in the forward movement of women's success.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes. And today we are talking about celebrating and what are we bringing forth. And I think summer is a great time. June, we're about halfway through the year. It's a great time to stop, pause, and celebrate. And today we are focused in on a book that is being launched called The Humorist Adventures with Baaaaahbra. And today we have the privilege and honor of talking to the author. There's a couple of things I mentioned in the opening segment I just want to make sure you're remembering is to write down the date, June 19th. That's when the book will be released, and you have that opportunity, that window of 24 to 72 hours to be able to purchase the book for $1 and share it with your friends, which we love. And I know as you start to get to know Barbara more and more, you will be so excited about what she's bringing forth and this book that will just lift your heart and spirit. Well, let me share a little bit more formally about Barbara. One, you can tell I love her. So I do. I love Barbara, and had the opportunity to meet her. I think it's been has it been a year and a half, Barbara? 1.5 years, 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. And from the moment I met her, she just radiated this positive, powerful energy that just made you smile and connect with her. And she's now met a lot of my family. We all feel that way about her and all that she's bringing to the world. And every conversation every time we have the opportunity to connect with her. I find I have a smile on my face. She uplifts my spirits, and I just think that's a special gift that she has. So I would say that Baaaaahbra Gross is definitely someone who uplifts spirits, but professionally, if we look at her bio, she also is a comedian. She's a TV show host, an author, a motivational speaker who's absolutely passionate about helping us choose to look at things in a positive way. Can we lean in and formally welcome the amazing Baaaaahbra Gross to the show? Welcome.
Thank you very much, Rebecca.
You are so, so welcome. And I wanted to start our conversation with, why do you care so much about helping people smile? Why is that important to you?
Well, I just believe that, life's too short, and, you should enjoy it. And things happen in everyday life, and it's really, you have a choice. You can laugh or cry, and I choose to laugh, so I'm hoping I can show others to do the same.
Beautiful. And there's a story, it's called in there, because it's a series of different stories that you share kind of chronologically through life. And there's a story in there called the Moscow Adventures. And in that, I remember you talking about the list, your outfit, and luggage. Do you mind just sharing a couple snippets from that?
Sure. Well, I had a business meeting, and then I was asked if I wanted to stay afterwards in Moscow for a party. Well, my middle name is Party, so I didn't really have to think twice about it, and I signed up for it, and all the reservations were made. It was only till weeks later that I found out what this party really was. And it was like the Amazing Race, some extreme sports event. And if you were to take one look at me, you would know that's not something I would immediately sign up for, or probably not sign up for if I knew what it was in advance. And so what you're referring to, Rebecca, a list of things that I needed to bring with me from the United States, was a light to wear on my head, so I could find the outhouse because there would be no electricity, and even toilet paper because that was not going to be supplied, and a bathing suit, which, I just didn't read the list because at that point when I found out how extreme these activities would be, like zip lining off a cliff and climbing over mountainous trails, and it was just crazy. And so I just wasn't paying attention to the list. Therefore, I got myself in a predicament where I ended up having to borrow a lot of the things I needed.
And I was just thinking of that. So but one thing I think is really striking to me is you found the list, kind of read some of it, and decided to go forward anyway. And so you arrive and you show up. And can you describe the outfit that you ended up wearing? Because wasn't there a luggage issue or?
Yeah, so I decided, well, I always travel to be comfortable, and I was wearing like a baseball shirt and black leggings, and we were going to be in the forest, and I had a big bag because I was staying the week, and then we were going on an overnight. I wasn't quite sure what to pack, but I had sneakers, which my brother doesn't even believe I own a pair of sneakers, but I do. I had one pair, and as it turned out, these sneakers weren't really equipped for the heavy walking. And as I was going up and down these mountainous trails, the rubber started flipping off, and somebody literally had to cut it off of me. I ended up borrowing sneakers from someone else that were a little bit too small, but I really didn't say anything and plowed through and borrowed some other clothing and bug spray. And, it just turned out to be hysterically funny as each day passed.
And I love it that, and you're wearing this shirt, right, with sleeves through this very warm environment, and you just kept persevering. And when you read the story, she's not complaining. It's almost like it's an adventure every day, and she's able to laugh. And there's many more moments and days within that section that I know will make you smile. And something else that I appreciate that you've included in this book are pictures. So it's like we get to be part of your family and see some of these snapshots through time of these different adventures. And there's one, I'd love for you to share a little bit about alligators in New York.
Yes, alligators in New York. Well, you wouldn't think you would find them there, but I did. And I was on a business trip, and we were staying at this hotel that you must stay at. It was the place to be because they had the hottest club at the time. And, I was busy at a trade show. I really didn't have time to go down there. But the last night I thought, I'm going to go. And it turned out I was the last one to leave. So I thought, I'll just walk in there. And there's usually a line around the building. And as people were waiting in line, if you were staying at the hotel, you didn't have to wait in line. So I go right into the club when I see these two guys, and they pull me aside before I get in, and they said, could you get us in? And I said, well, what's in it for me? And they said, well, we'll buy you a drink. I said, well, okay. So I go up to the doorman, and he said, you can only bring one guest. And I said, what can I do? I have two. He said, okay. So we proceed to sit down, and one of the guys had a lot of markers, colored markers. And he took a white cocktail napkin, and then he started drawing. I said, oh, are you an artist? Draw my caricature. And he said, I only do alligators. And I said, well, what do you mean you only do alligators? He said, yeah, I only do alligators. And so I said, well, okay. He ended up making a picture of this alligator with the New York skyline in the background with my name, Baaaaahbra. And I had that matted and framed. And, he even signed it. And so I have an original Goldberg. And if you can get your hands on an original Goldberg, I would recommend it.
But remember, he only does alligators. Oh, I love it. I love it. So much fun. Oh, I know that you have this beautiful television show that you have done, and you've been speaking and sharing. And I would love for you to share with our listeners why you felt led to have a book and bring that forward. What led you on that path, and why are you excited to be bringing this book forward at this time?
Well, when I talk to people say, oh, you should, you're just so funny. Why do all these funny things keep happening to you? And I say to them, if you listen carefully, these stories weren't that funny at the time. But in hindsight, they're hysterical. So I'm really not telling any jokes. I'm not making up any stories. I'm replaying the video that I have in my head. And so it turned out through my life, my father was a pioneer. He bought an 8mm camera, silent film, and literally I have film from me coming home from the hospital. Everything's been documented. And so at that time, this video of me, it can't be my memory. I'm too young, but it has become my memory. And so I created these 26 shows. My last name is Gross, so it starts out chronologically growing up gross, the early years, and I go on. But as you might detect a little accent that I have a lot of stories about that as well.
I love it. So I enjoy your show that you, the 26 episode series that you have brought forward and shared, and really excited about your book. And many of those pictures are in the book, so you can see the journey. And you're absolutely right. Growing up gross is a very powerful section of what that's like, and even having the last name Gross and kind of some of the adventures you had around that. So really a fun book, powerful, and it's not just, it's a fun book, but there's a depth in it and a heart in it that also has, as I read it, stop and pause and think about things and how would I have responded to that. So I find it also has this humor, and it lifts you up, but it also helps you think and reflect a little bit on how you're looking at things as well. So I'm very excited about the book, Barbara. Excited to have you joining us here today. And listeners, we're getting ready to go to our next commercial break here. So as we do that, that's 2 minutes just for you. I want to make sure that you're writing down the June 19th date, the launch date there. And as we go to this next commercial break, I want you to think about something that lifts your spirits. Maybe you've had parts of your life filmed or documented, and is there a moment you can think back on that just makes you smile? I want to encourage you to think about that and make that list, or just spend a moment in that energy, smiling and enjoying, and we'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Voice America Women. Your passion starts here.
The Voice America Live Events channel is here now to showcase your corporate, individual, or organization's live event. Visit voiceamerica.com/live events to see all of our past live events and find out more. Whether it's a multi-day conference, special speaker, or single-day event, we've got everything to make your event a success. We can do a few hours or a few days. For more information about taking your event to the next level, call Jeff Spinard at 480-294-6417 or email info@voiceamerica.com. Again, that's Jeff Spinard at 480-294-6417 or send us an email to info@voiceamerica.com. Voice America is where you are and where you want to be. Join us around the globe as we broadcast live from some of the most interesting events available. Don't forget to view all our live events, including on-demand access to past events that you may have missed by visiting voiceamerica.com/live events.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Relationship issues? Anxious? Parenting challenges? No more. Learn to live your best life. Tune into Straight Talk with top therapist, relationship, and anxiety expert Sandra Reish. Learn to transform your challenges into effective solutions. Whether it's relationships, parenting, anxiety, or other traps, Sandra will show you how you can live the life of your dreams. Listen live every Thursday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel.
You're tuned to the Voice America Women's Channel, leading the way for your success.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you took a moment to pause and think about that picture, that snapshot, that memory, and what a joy it is to be able to share that with someone else and that memory and that adventure. And you get to celebrate it and enjoy it together. And that's one of the powerful gifts of sharing and celebrating with each other. And in this book that we've been talking about, Humorous Adventures with Baaaaahbra, so we were talking to the amazing author of this book, Barbara Gross. We're getting to go through some of her memories and enjoy them with her. And from those awkward years of growing up and dating, and believe me, she's pretty candid in what she shares about some of those adventures and going away to school and, just all of those different things. We're getting to walk beside her and enjoy that rich journey. And so just as we're thinking back, I don't know if there's a favorite moment you would like to share, either in growing up Gross or dating years. Would love to, or sports, because I know you had a number of sporting adventures. Would love for you to share.
Oh, well, there's so many come to mind. I guess one of the funny things that I did was, I was asked if I wanted to play softball. Well, I just want to say it's not a softball. It's pretty hard. And, again, if you look at me, you're not thinking the ultimate sportswoman. But somehow I get myself involved, and hey, I'll do anything once. So I knew that I didn't want to catch the ball because I didn't want to break any nails. But I thought, I was right behind the pitcher, and so other people could catch the ball. And as, I'd be in the outfield, the ball, for whatever reason, it seemed to be a heat-seeking missile always coming at me. And I would inevitably not catch it. Then finally, they would say, Barbara. So I said, okay, I'm going to catch it. I made up my mind. I'm going to catch it. So this next ball came, and of course it comes to me, and I'm looking up as I'm running, and I know I have it. And I'm running, and I can hear the crowd yelling, and I'm thinking, wow, they're cheering me on. This is great. When all of a sudden I ran right into the back of the pitcher because he thought, as usual, I wasn't going to catch that ball, and I ran smack into his back and fell. So the cheering was what? Watch out! But I thought they were cheering for me.
Aw. Well, I appreciate that you went for it.
In a big way.
Exactly. So love that. And is there anything else that's on your heart that you would like to share about this book, or what you're really hoping people gain in leaning in and enjoying your beautiful book?
Well, I think, the same situation might not have happened to you, but maybe something similar. And, as you read through, you can see, what I did, and maybe question what you would have done, and maybe if you would have done it differently. Because I believe my message is, to be your authentic self. I mean, if you can be your true, authentic self, that's the best thing you can be, because no one has the gifts like you have. And if you're able to laugh at yourself, that is such a gift, because I just crack up on myself all day long. I laugh at myself. And it's fun.
I love that, Barbara. Party of one.
Gross party of one.
Oh, I love the gross party of one. There you go. I love it.
Well,
but
you're usually growing up the gross party of 5, but, I'm a gross party of 1.
I love it. But I think that's a really important reminder that we have gifts and we have talents and we have this journey in life, and we can choose to shine and enjoy the journey and celebrate the adventures, the ups and the downs, or not. And I love that you even, by yourself, you're enjoying those moments. And I think that's powerful that we can do that in our life too. And I think that's something your book is very inspiring, and it's very you're right. There are many moments where I could identify, and I may or may not have made the same choices, but we all have those moments where we're growing and we're learning and we're stretching, and even if it isn't exactly the same script, we've been in that same feeling, that same emotion, that same challenge that we're facing. And what I love is that you always choose to lean in, say yes. You go forward and you celebrate the journey every step along the way. I find that throughout your whole book, as you discover you're sometimes in those situations like it wasn't what you expected, like this isn't the party you thought you signed up for. And yet, you don't try to escape. You just go forward and make the best of it. And I think that's a really powerful and inspiring for all of us to seek to be like that, to make those choices, to lean all in and to celebrate and enjoy the journey, both those ups and the downs. And is there a favorite? I know you have so many of those stories and moments. Is there a favorite one that comes to your mind and heart as you're thinking about our listeners around the world that are leaning in, they're interested in purchasing this book and reading more, being uplifted? Is there a place you would encourage them to go to first?
Gee, I guess it would depend on what you might be interested in, because the original, I start out with my accent, and that's about miscommunication, because, and I could give some examples now or later.
Sure.
And then I go into just growing up, being in preschool, high school, dating, sports, first jobs, interviews, and again, you think it's going one way and it goes another way. However, in a lot of cases, if your attitude is positive and you can laugh at yourself, it turns out even better. So, be open to those doors that open that you might not know what's behind them, because even in a job that I took, and I wasn't planning on it, but if I didn't do the last thing, I would have never been qualified for the next thing. And even though it was scary, it turned out the best thing I could have done. It opened up a whole new career. And a lot of times people can see things in you that maybe you don't see, and that's another gift as well. And so because I was given those open doors, I like to give the open doors to other people as well. And then I have traveling stories and birthday stories and friendship stories and family stories and unconditional love stories.
You do, and you have tips. In most sections, you even give a tip that you have learned. For instance, mothers always know, right? I don't get away with anything.
I have many examples of that.
But I think that's really powerful too, that there's a reminder and we can learn from some of your experiences as well. So I love that. And I was thinking about that unconditional love. Would you share a little bit about that?
Well, I have to say I've been very blessed. From day one, the minute I came into this world, I knew what unconditional love was from my family, from both sets of grandparents, parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, and friends. I've just truly been blessed that way. And I do have one story in there, even though I could say so much about everybody that I just mentioned, but I have a story about my grandmother, who, when I was younger, saw the Beverly Hillbillies, and I called her Granny, and so I just started calling her Granny. I happen to be the youngest and the only girl, so not even the youngest of my immediate family, but the whole extended family. So when I came on the scene, it's like the baby. And no matter how old I get, and I'm kind of up there now, I'm still known as the baby in the family.
I love it. I love it. And do you want to share a little bit about your Granny?
Yeah, so, she was such a great person, and she, not only for me, but for everybody, she was always there. And for me especially, growing up And, my mother decided to get a job once I was older, and so my grandmother would sit with me and babysit. So I would come home from school, and I'd watch soap operas with her. Now, she happened to have a hearing aid, one of those old-fashioned hearing aids, and that it was a box that you had to wear on your side, and then it would go off with this high-pitched tone like, and she wouldn't hear it. And I'd be like, Granny, your thing's going off, and we'd laugh. Or, she... when you get older, you've got some skin like hanging under your arm, and I would just pat it, and she would just laugh. But one thing she would do too, and maybe it was to give me confidence, is we would play cards or any board game or any game, and I would always win. So, and she did it on purpose, but one time she lost by accident, and she started laughing so hard she was almost choking. And my mother came into the room and said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And my grandmother, she was just laughing so hard because she didn't mean to win. And I was livid, I couldn't believe this was happening, but that's when I realized I wasn't invincible, but, It was just so funny when I think back of all the sweet things that she did with tender, loving care for not only me, but for my whole family. The first one to jump into a car when you get your driver's license, to go to every dance recital. No matter what happens, you're the best, you can do it. And she passed that down with my grandfather to, my mother. It's my mother's mother, and to all of us. And so it's just something that I just feel very blessed.
No, thank you for sharing, and I can hear your love and appreciation and honor of her and all that she got to be in your life and be part of, and what a gift to have someone cheering you on and lifting you up, losing on purpose most of the time, and just encouraging you, letting you know they believe in you, and because of
that, it was passed down to my mother, to my brothers, to my cousins. So we all share in that and continue that.
I love that. That's affected generations of that encouragement. We believe in you. You can do it all. You can approach life powerfully and joyfully. And to me, your book is echoing that out. And your adventures, even Danny, just all of that in your book that is sharing all these different adventures, but it's coming from that perspective. And I find it very encouraging and uplifting and inspiring. So listeners, as we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I want to encourage you to use these 2 minutes just for you and really think about those people that have positively impacted you. And maybe a couple of ways that they have done that, and just kind of make that list. And it goes back to that celebration, that inspiring, choosing how we're looking at things. So take just a couple moments to write some of those thoughts down. An extra credit bonus would be after the show, just taking a moment, sending them a message or giving them a call, and just sharing that moment, that memory, the way they've impacted you in a positive way. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
This is Voice America Women. We are leaders in the forward movement of women's success.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog, Press Pass? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective. Plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at vapresspass.com. That's vapresspass.com. VA Press Pass by Voice America. All access, all the time.
Tune in to Patricia Raskin Positive Living on VoiceAmerica.com every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Time. This program brings you practical and inspiring principles for living a more authentic, engaging, and passionate life. Patricia's guests will give you a formula for connecting, giving, forgiving, and miraculous living. So tune in and call in to Patricia Raskin Positive Living Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Time right here on the Voice America Variety Channel. It's practical, positive solutions for a happy, empowered, and successful life.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation. This is the Voice America Women's Channel, where your success is limitless.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes and you did take a moment to pause and think about somebody that impacted you in a positive way and kind of enjoying that memory and perhaps looking to reach out later today, not someday, but later today, and just let them know or share that rich memory with somebody. There's such a power in being able to share those gifts and how we've been touched and inspired, and that in turn lifts up others as well. So I encourage you to do that. And as we come back, this is our closing segment, and it's our fastest segment here. Barbara and I were talking a little bit behind the scenes because there are so many pieces that we're trying to choose from in the book for her to share just a little bit more from. And wanted to have her share a little bit about communication, and especially with the accent that she has. Sometimes when she's moved to a place that they don't talk in that way, they talk differently. There were different adventures that took place, and there was one that I think just emphasizes how important communication is. So Barbara, I'd love for you to share.
Okay, great. Well, I think as people can hear, I have a slight Boston accent. You know, I don't pronounce the R's, no R's. I pronounce them like A-H, ka, pa, kavid, yad. And so my name is Baaaaahbra. So when I first moved to California, I wanted to order a pizza, and they said, "What's your name?" And I said, Baaaaahbra. And they said, "What?" And I said, Baaaaahbra. And they said, Bob. I said, "Forget it, Cindy. I'll be there," you know. But another time, I worked for a company in the UK, and they like to say they had an office in Silicon Valley, which really was my apartment. At the time, I lived in Palo Alto, and I needed to do a computer software demo and for this man, and I wasn't going to invite him to my house, so I thought I'll meet him in San Francisco since he was going to be up there at the W Hotel in the lobby. That'll be a safe place. And, you know, the W Hotel is, you know, really nice, and I dressed up in a nice suit with the silk blouse, the heels, you know, very professional. I do the demonstration for him, and I could see that he was very pleased. And then he leaned back and he looked at his watch, and he said, "Hey, you know, it's 5 o'clock. Why don't we go across the street to the Topless Bar?" And I thought to myself, oh, my God, what vibe am I giving off? Quickly, I looked down to see if I had an open button on my blouse, but no, I didn't. And then I thought to myself quickly, well, I don't care how much this deal is. I'm not going to let this man talk to me like this. So I asked him, "Excuse me, did you just ask me to go across the street to a topless bar?" And he leaned back and let out such a big belly laugh. He said, I didn't ask you to go across the street to a topless bar. I asked you to go across the street to a tapas bar. Well, you know, I'm from Boston. I never heard about tapas in my life. Now come to find out tapas is like Spanish appetizers. And so that's all he was asking me to do. And he thought it was so funny. He said, can I ask my wife as well to come and join us?
And a beautiful friendship was built.
Yeah.
I love it. But I appreciate, and there's several adventures in there around communication. And one of the things that you, a tip that you've given and shared throughout the book is please repeat. like it's really important to repeat back, because if you had reacted from what you heard, it could have really harmed that relationship, and it would all be based on a misunderstanding versus what was really being said. And I think that happens so many times in our life that we hear one thing and it may or may not be what was said. And I think there's such a power in taking a moment, pausing, and either repeating back what you heard or asking for clarification before we react. And you did that over and over and over. And I think there's a really powerful lesson in that, and can also bring some humor to situations. And it's funny, I was even thinking, as this book does, it has you thinking a little bit. My husband and I sometimes will have a misunderstanding, and now what he says to me, instead of I didn't say that or whatever, he'll go, you may have heard that, but here's what I said, or here's what I meant. And I find that we have much clearer communication, or I'm able to say that to him as well. So I think that's a really valuable tip that you give, with lots of examples of why it's so important to please repeat, or this is what I heard. And you do it with such fun and warmth and connection throughout your sharing. So I appreciate that. And there's lots of valuable tips and insights that you'll find, but again, with a smile, and everything that Barbara shares in this book. So I want to thank you for creating this book and being willing to bring it forth. And before I remind everyone where they can get it and how, I would love for you to share, if they want to follow you, if they want to stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, I have a Facebook page, and it's called The Baaaaahbra Show. And every time I spell Barbara, it's B and then 5 A's and H, B-R-A. So Baaaaahbra. So there's a Facebook page for The Baaaaahbra Show. There's a website, www.baaaaahbra.com. Again, the B-A-A-A-A-A, 5 A's, H-B-R-A. And email at baaaaahbra@baaaaahbra.com. And I'm also, I could go on, but those are the main ways.
Those are the main ways. Great, because that way they can stay in touch and they can follow you. So make sure it's Barbara with 5 A's. Whenever I'm typing it, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I just make sure that I'm typing it correctly. So it's a great way to do that. And those of you who are interested in learning more about her book and leaning in, again, that magic date is June 19th. And that's when it'll be released on Amazon. So you'll be able to go to Amazon and find her book, released on June 19th. And again, for the first 24 to 72 hours, we're going to be offering it for $1. So really excited about that, so that we can touch as many hearts and lives as possible. So I hope that you lean into that you've enjoyed a little bit of a flavor of what you'll find in that book, and that you've been touched by Barbara and her sharing today. As you get ready to go back out into the world, I want you to think about a couple things. Think about what it is that you're celebrating, that memory that you're wanting to share with another, and what is it that you're wanting to bring forward a little bit more in how you're choosing to look at the world around you. And I hope that as you're moving forward, that you choose to bloom where you're planted, bring a smile on the journey, and shine. We look forward to talking to you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Women's Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.